Hey, good morning, guys. Today I have other things to do, but I still had Ross's Silverado in here overnight, and a couple of comments I had on the video of doing the coil ramps from the fuse box. Yeah, I was considering them recoils too, but I was just going off of the slid, and it's if we look at it, it has as fuse number 24, it's injector circuit A. But if we go over to the fuse 13, there's injector circuit B. Now, that's not really still lining up for me either, but I'm going to show you. This is just more for curiosity. Like, my technique, if I would have been going after that injector, I would have done what I ended up doing in the end anyways. We would have had good information of that coil, of that fuel injector, its current ramp and its voltage. But just for curiosity, like if I was chasing something and I went off of that injector circuit A, and I might not went back and looked, I figure if 24 you're coming in with injector circuit A, yeah, I mean, B should be after 24, but no, we're over at 13 for injector circuit B. Okay, be that as it may, there's two injector circuits. They both say, and I didn't go on Mitchell or Autel yet, or I didn't think this was going to be. I thought I was going to just come out here and just prove to myself that the injection circuit B was a spitting image of what I seen on injector circuit A, because the only thing supposed to be on are three coils and three injectors, three for each bank. So we should have 6 ramps, just like I had on the first one. I'm going to show you what's going to happen, but in the end, and I was wondering why, I mean, those looked a little bit more like signals than they do ramps. And that didn't look quite right, but I know different signals look different ways, so I mean, I didn't think much into it. But looking at the schematic, now coming out, I believe that's, I need the reader's side. I printed this one pretty small. But coming out of fuse 4, the engine fuse, goes straight to the spiders. And then it splits into 6. So I don't know how we could be getting a current ramp for all 6 injectors if it's fed by one fuse, which is not the either fuel injector circuit A or B. So they might look different. Even the signals that I was getting out of the fuse box, the ramps, did not look nothing like they looked just clamped around the signal wire on that number 2 injector. So I think those might be signals, because nothing's adding up except for just going back to the schematic. I'm sure in Mitchell Autel might have told me something different of what those fuses are, but this is just using the tools that we have to try to backtrack and figure out what's wrong. Why, even though there's nothing wrong, why am I not getting what I'm looking for? So we're going to, in the end, we're going to go to engine fuse number 4. But first, I want to show you the difference of the one I was on yesterday. This is injection circuit A. Now that would be right there. 2 up for it. This 20 amp fuse is injection circuit B. And then this fuse here is the ECM fuse. It should have a 15 amp in it. Somebody, probably Rossi, didn't have any more 15 amps, blew it something. I don't know, but there's a 20 amp in it now. But this is where I was yesterday. Let me show you what I get. All right, guys. This is what I was seeing yesterday. Now we could tell, I mean, that does look more like a signal, like a trigger, than it does look like a current ramp that we're used to seeing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off, and then I'm going to go to injector fuse B, which the only thing listed for them for that fuse is the other bank's injectors and coils. All right, as we can see, that looks nothing like injector circuit A, which both are only supposed to have 3 coils, 3 injectors, each fuse. That looks nothing like it. Maybe it's because some of these had spiders, some of them didn't. I don't know what the end result is, but next what I'm going to do is the engine fuse. It's supposed to be a 15 amp fuse. And then it splits, and then like I was saying, I'm not sure how it could have been pulling 3 power feeds with only 1 main feed. I'm sure all this is in the service data, but sometimes when you're under the hood, you want to go off these fuse boxes. I mean, it'll get you in trouble sometime. At least a schematic, we could tell which one's feeding it. And that would be fuse number 4 on here, which was supposed to be the 15 amp fuse. It has a 20 in it now. So now I'm hooked up onto that. We're going to see what we see. All right, now these are starting to look more like either coil or injector ramps, but they do look like ramps. We know this is feeding the injectors though, but these look more like the ramps that I was getting off of the actual wire. Let me go to automotive mode. This looks like a signal wire to me, or a signal. I mean, it's pulling at the ground momentarily, like we're on the ground side of it. Okay, I'm going to just increase. I mean, hey, everything looks good there. We're going to start. Stop. I'm sorry, my finger's in the way. It's I know the screen recorder does a little bit better on what we're looking at there, but I'm going to shut the vehicle off. Hey guys, I shut off the light to help with some of the glare. But these look more like traditional coil ramps would be expecting to see. And this is the part I would have sadly, I mean, I figured while I was on there, I was happy with what I captured off of just 1 injector. But it would have really been, you know, a bad experience if I was looking at these, like, you know, really trying to find. I would have missed the opportunity to see if there was 1 ramp that was lower or 1 ramp that looked, you know, decisively different than the other ones, which is the reason you want to go to the fuse box. But like that one's, I mean, just the shape of them didn't really, you know, a few differences, but I mean, that's all your all the point in time that you're capturing, but we don't see nothing that looks like a really bad waveform on any of them that you could just stick out and say, hey, you know, like the front face of some of these, but then does it repeat again and again and again? It's like you're in a different point of time. But everything's ramping up right, and it's doing the trick. But I mean, we have the tools to figure this out like this, but I mean, don't go off on box lids. Only unless you know the engine fuse is the fuel injection fuse. All right, guys. All right, guys, that's basically all I had. I just wanted to come back because I'm not like the kind... I hate hearing like a suggestion or thinking about something later on after the car is gone and being like, man, I should have did that, or I should have. I mean, this thing's still sitting here. You know, like I said, all I do is wheel over to him. I wanted to try to get to the bottom of it, like, you know, myself, you know, but once again, just by the fuse box lid being let off straight, that, okay, that was injector circuit A. Now, let me look at injector circuit B. It's completely different. I mean, you could go down a rabbit hole that way, and you're going to find out then that it's... I mean, I'm sure all this was on All Data or Mitchell, but I really wasn't I mean, that's where the diagram came from. But I mean, if I was looking for a car, I had this from previously, and like, cars, these are all, my friend's cars, I ain't going to keep printing out the same schematic. Put it under here so I don't get grease on it whenever I'm done with it, put it in their little thing. So it kind of saves me a little bit of time, because sometimes I like the paper one in front of me more than having to switch screens from, like, 8 scope just to look at a schematic, having to use your phone for that. But whatever. At this point, I mean, it just showed us what's feeding this whole injector, this whole sequential injector, like all 6. What's feeding it? Fuse 15. We got 15. We got 15 ramps. We got 6 current ramps right off of that fuse, just like we should have if we seen this. But being that's what I wasn't looking for. If I was trying to diagnose a problem with that on the power supply, had a reason to be checking more than one, then I might not have went off the lid. I would have definitely did a little bit of reading before I started, trying to get some readings. But just with the scope there, it was easy to find where looks better. And the way them ramps look, I mean, they sure don't look like current ramps to me. It looks like some kind of signal, or that's just how long something's being held to ground and pulling current through the ground side. I don't know, being the computer's grounding out the wires. But why it's run through another fuse, all that's something for the engineers. But right now, or for the serious enthusiasts, but right there, that got me there more than the fuse box would. And I guess the main takeaway is just don't trust them lids. All right, guys, thanks for watching again. But I just wanted to put a little bit of closure out there on this, because if I find something wrong, or I did wrong, I kick myself in the ass if the car's gone. This is just a prime opportunity to use the tools we love. All right, guys, have a good one. Adios.